Tonight, Seattle firefighters forced to blow into this device to drive their own car. Yet they were still allowed to drive one of these on the job. KIRO 7 investigates.
Are you concerned about the fact that these firefighters slipped through the cracks and were driving when they shouldn't have been?
Why commanders failed to keep them from getting behind the wheel.
The fire chief refused for months to discuss how this has been allowed to happen.
He finally agreed to speak one-on-one with our Lindsay Sheldon about how the policy is failing firefighters and taxpayers.
Every day, Seattle firefighters hit the streets to save people's lives. But KIRO 7 discovered some of these drivers are accused of putting lives at risk, arrested for drinking and driving in their time off, then hopping back behind the wheel on the job. We spoke to people who live and work near one of their fire stations.
And that is concerning, especially since it's a public safety issue.
According to department policy, they're supposed to be pulled off the roads. But we discovered that can take months, even years.
It's something that's hard to believe.
Linda Wells is a fill-in driver, and in 2010, she was convicted of 2 DUIs. In one, police said she almost hit a car along the Tacoma Narrows Bridge and had a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit. Wells had to install an ignition interlock device in her vehicle, and she did that in August of 2009. It tests if she's sober before she can drive, and court records show it's ordered to stay on for 10 years. But we discovered the Seattle Fire Department let her drive dozens of times over more than 4 years before finally suspending her driving privileges this March.
Chief, it looks like the policy is failing. Would you agree?
What I would say is this: the department has a policy. You have an example of where the policy, where someone fell through the cracks on the policy.
Seattle Fire Chief Gregory Dean has been chief for 10 years and part of the department for 44. Over 5 months, he refused our interview requests. We even tried to talk to him at a Medic One event at the Sheraton, but were told the fire department didn't want to speak with us. When we were turned away there, we reached out to the office of Mayor Ed Murray, which arranged an interview.
Chief, why did it take 5 months, multiple interview requests, and ultimately the intervention of the mayor's office for you to talk with us today?
Again, I think that I'm here today.
The department's policy states employees must promptly notify the department through the chain of command of any change in driver's license status.
Once we become aware of it, then those members get removed from their driving jobs.
Dean says the department also checks people's licenses twice a year. So we asked how it missed Wells so many times.
It's a failure of the department to react or a failure of these employees to report.
Right, and it's a fair question. As I said, I can't answer that question because I don't know the answer to that.
We discovered other cases the department's missed, like paramedic Troy Trotman, arrested for DUI in 2010. He installed his interlock device November 12, 2013, but drove 47 shifts before his driving privileges were suspended 6 months later.
We have some lapses in our policy. We're looking to correct that.
And driver Joseph Dempsey faces trial in January after police say he passed out in his SUV on 5th Avenue in Seattle with a BAC of more than twice the legal limit. It was at least his 4th DUI arrest. And in these new court documents, the city attorney's office says it believes Dempsey poses an extreme danger to public safety. Yet after he installed his interlock device in April, the department allowed him behind the wheel for 6 shifts over the next 2 months before taking him off the roads. We tried to speak to all of the firefighters, but none of them answered or were willing to talk on camera. Chief Dean says he's confident these firefighters drove safely. Their officers check them at the start of each shift, he says, and supervise them, though he admits they aren't being checked before every call.
I cannot tell you, based on when those alarms came in, as to whether the officer stood him and looked him in the eye.
But he doesn't know how many other firefighters the department may have missed, and for how many years. James Vaden, who lives 1 block away from Linda Wells' station, is worried about that reality.
And you think about the possibility of how many lives can be lost behind something like this.
Well, the biggest takeaway here is it's not just about these 3 firefighters. The department can't tell us why they missed all of this or when they discovered the firefighters shouldn't be driving, which means there could be firefighters driving right now who shouldn't be.
Lindsay, serious problem here, certainly. What about these drivers? Any of them been disciplined, and what about treatment? Or any of them getting help?
Right. Well, none of these firefighters has been disciplined, although the chief said that they could be if it turns out they reported their interlock devices late. As for support, the city does have an employee assistance program for help with alcohol or drug problems.
Well, hopefully they will take them up on that. All right, thanks a lot. Great story, Lindsay.